Dragonflight, for the most part, seems like a breath of fresh air after we've been choking on a cloud of smoke for the last couple of years. I don't think the stakes have ever been any higher than they are now. Blizzard needs a win. I don't think the community can take another bad expansion. And there's a lot riding on Dragonflight, so I'm here to ask the question, will Dragonflight save WoW? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. But before we do, did you guys know that the majority of my viewers are not subscribed? So if you guys haven't already, maybe make today the date that I earn your sub. I've already put out some great content for Dragonflight, and I'll continue to do so going forward. So if you guys want to stay updated with the latest guides, news, and discussion videos like this one, hit that sub button and don't forget to ring the notification bell as well. Alright, enough of that, let's get back to the video. Alright, so let's be honest, as a community, we've had a rough couple of expansions. Legion had its shortcomings, but overall I think it was considered a success. And then we went straight into BFA, where all the big problems started to happen. The main one being Azerite power. It just seemed like it was a really confusing and overcomplicated system. But I get it. Blizzard was trying to create another artifact system because of how popular that feature was. But unfortunately for Blizzard, this system was just way worse and it just did not work, and it took them the entire expansion to fix the problem. Then you had Shadowlands with that Covenant system. From day one the system being revealed, I already knew it was going to be a bad idea. And so did a lot of other people, especially popular streamers or content creators, who all expressed their concerns at which Blizzard didn't seem to really listen to. It almost felt like Blizzard had the opinion of, hey, don't worry, we know what's good for you, which made them unable to even consider that it might actually have been a mistake. And then just as everyone predicted, it was a shit show, which again took the entire expansion for Blizzard to fix. The point I'm trying to make here is that Blizzard has a problem with taking proper feedback, or they just don't seem to have the ability to rapidly change large systems in a timely manner. As I said earlier, that the stakes have never been higher than they are now, and Blizzard can't afford another botched expansion. I don't know what will happen with the player base, but it seems like a lot of people are giving Blizzard one more chance to see if they can learn from their mistakes. Now, I'm not expecting Dragonflight to be this smash hit and then suddenly we're back to the Wrath of the Lich King numbers. No, the times of 11 million active users is gone. That's just not going to happen anymore. That's just the environment now. 15 years ago, MMOs were the flavor of the month. You had a WoW killer around every corner, and then what happened? They all died except for a small few that are still played to this day. Now it's Battle Royale and extraction shooters. So that's not going to change, but I think if Blizzard is making good content, I think they can easily hit 5 million active users, or at least more on average. I think there's a huge number of players that are wanting to play MMOs, and they're just waiting for the games to be good again. Dragonflight does seem like a step in the right direction. And after all the allegation problems they had, it seems like they finally have rid themselves of all the gatekeepers who had sole directive control over big decisions. I don't remember where I read this, but I believe I heard a story of a Blizzard employee saying that there was one person who basically kept turning down ideas and really good feedback, but now that they're gone, the studio has the ability to actually make some really good changes for the game. With Dragonflight, there are no big set piece features that will require you to be farming or doing anything crazy like that. Gone are the days of trying to farm endlessly to power up your Azerite necklace in order to unlock trees for your gear. Man, that was such a strange system. Or even covens tied to player power. It still blows my mind to this day that nobody at Blizzard the office thought to themselves that balancing 38 different abilities plus soulbinding trees wasn't going to be a balancing nightmare. No, but seriously, I'm sure someone did, but I think at that point, Blizzard just kind of hit that point of no return and they were forced to commit to it. In the gaming industry, you decide to make a game, right? You then decide to pick some really big features for the product. And in Shadowlands' case, it was covens. In the beginning, you can do some really big sweeping changes to the system, but as time goes on, it becomes harder to adjust or revise. Eventually, you start hitting deadlines and you're forced to just stick with currently what you have. These kind of things are put in place because without them, game studios would not reach deadlines, and you'd get what we have with Star Citizen where you never know when the game's going to actually be released. And now when you look at Dragonflight, it seems like this time around you just hit max level and then you do Mythic Plus, you raid, or you PvP to get yourself gear. Now some might hate this, however, and argue that there really isn't anything to do in the game or keep them to play, but honestly I think this expansion, feeling more bare bones than normal, is actually what the game needs right now. I don't think WoW needs to be a game where you play it 40 hours a week. I think without having so many things required of you, is actually going to give more people free time to do other things in the game that they really wouldn't feel compelled to do because they're, worried that they have to keep up with this weird contrived system that's going to, increase their player power. Think about how many people that just have enough time to log in, get raid ready, raid, and then they got to log off because they got to get to work in the morning. But now, think about all the different things that those people didn't have time for, now they're going to be able to do. And this next thing might be kind of a hot take, but I'm going to say it anyways. So without so many things being required of you and giving people more free time, it's going to let people kind of take a break from the game once in a while. And I don't think this is a bad thing. Taking breaks from a game will not only make you feel more excited to come back and play it later, but it's also going to help reduce burnout. I think Dragonflight not having so many systems is going to prove over time to be a good thing for the game. Like I said, not only is it going to help with player burnout and basically the stress of making people think that they're falling behind if they don't play the game, more than one day a week, but I also think that without so many features tied to player power, it's going to free up the developers too. Think of it like this. With the Covens and Shadowlands, Blizzard had to spend a lot of development time balancing out all the powers and talent trees for the soulbinds for every spec in the game. When you have so many systems tied to player power, it just forces those developers to work on balancing rather than creating new content. And I'm sure I can say this for all of them because this is probably super true. I bet they hate balancing. I think most developers want to create stuff. So with Dragonflight not having any of that, I predict that we're going to be seeing a huge increase of content with the cadence for World of Warcraft. I bet not only are we going to see some pretty big content updates a lot faster than we usually do, but I think we're going to be getting a whole bunch of new content too. I think we're going to start seeing a huge shift with the developers too. It's almost like the mood over there is just way better. With all the recent transparency, with all the latest interviews, it seems like Blizzard is really trying to show us that, they're turning a new leaf and they really care. And on top of that, it seems like they're actually listening to feedback now. Right before Season 4 of Shadowlands started, there was a flip, and I think Blizzard really finally started to realize that they just need to listen to the players. And that really showed when they finally decided to unlock Covens, letting us just swap between them with no cooldowns. Then, in Dragonflight Beta, you had developers working on the talent trees, literally responding to player feedback every week, and in some cases, daily, like with the developer working on the Hunter tree. There were a few weeks where he was literally talking to the guys in the Discord every day, taking their feedback and making changes super quick. Now granted, this didn't happen with every spec. Some classes it took weeks or even longer to hear anything, and that really sucks. But at the very least, it looks like they're finally listening to us, and with the recent acquisition of the studio Proletariat, the ones who made that battle royale game called Spellbreak, they've gained 100 new developers, all of which went to World of Warcraft. This is a really big deal because none of them are fresh new hires. These are actually devs who actually have some talent and skill behind them. So this means that there's going to be a faster return on the investment because of this. And yeah, it was unfortunate that Spellbreak had to shut down because it was actually a really decent game and pretty fun, but just not a lot of people ended up playing it. The game never really got the traction that it needed, so they had to shut the game down. However, these devs are all incredibly talented, so I think having them be put on the WoW team just means that we're going to be getting some really cool stuff. Now, Blizzard has said that they do plan to increase the content cadence with Dragonflight, noting that the last two expansions, the timing on those was much to be desired. And I think with the new 100 devs being added to the game, it's going to make them put out content much faster than they ever have before. I don't remember where I heard this, but it could have just been on the forums or somewhere, but basically saying that the devs that recently got hired, most of them are being put on basically patch content. I guess the idea is that we're used to the big content updates like, a big patch where you have Zereth Mortis and a raid tier. I guess it's kind of implied that going forward, we're going to have smaller patches or smaller content updates that don't include a raid tier or anything big like that. But we're going to be getting, nice sizable chunks of quests and things like that. Basically stuff to progress a story or more side quests and things like that. Keep in mind, I would take that with a huge grain of salt. So what are my thoughts about all of this? What do I think is going to happen with Dragonflight? Do I believe Dragonflight will save WoW? Well, my answer is yeah, kind of. I just don't think that it's going to be this big, end-all be-all savior of WoW. I think that we've just had way too many years of issues that I don't think can be fixed overnight. For WoW to truly be saved and become the great game everyone used to know it's going to take some time. It's going to take at least more than one expansion to fix. Likely 2 or maybe even 3 good expansions is how we get WoW back in, the right track. However, it's not all doom and gloom because I believe that Dragonflight is a step in the right direction. I'd bet that it will be enough to just keep things headed in the right place and be a great starting off point for things to come. You can't build a house on a cracked foundation. If your house is rotted, you need to tear it all down, break that foundation, and replace it from the ground up and start working your way up again. The path to making WoW great again is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. This will need to take time and people will need to have patience. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys think WoW is doomed, or do you think that we're in the beginning of a great redemption arc for World of Warcraft? I hope you guys are all having fun in Dragonflight and busy leveling your butts off. I know I was. I took some time off to make this video for you guys, so after this I need to get back to grinding. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. And like always guys, thank you so much for checking out my content, and I will see you guys in the next video.